we start in winter. It is the winter of our discontent. No, nay, no, no, nay, no. It is not the winter of our discontent. It is Nico's first experience of snow. Yes, a thick blanket of snow has descended and is cascaded across the landscape, and Nico is finally able to build snowmen and throw snowballs, but there is no time for that because he has work to do. Things in the house are about to get a little bit, just a tiny bit, well, actually, very, very intense. On their second day of living in their new house, the welcome wagon comes around, of course, everybody carrying some fruitcake, looking to welcome their new neighbors. And Moira is one of the welcome wagon. Now her surname I've forgotten. But just to know that she has a husband and two daughters. Yes. Now, she is freezing. It's winter. It's cold. It's deadly cold. And Moira freezes to death on their pathway, almost on their doorstep, as Summer is talking to her, saying, "No, thank you. I do not need the fruitcake. I would rather die." Well, that's not actually what she said, but I imagine that's what she would say, if, she could. Because nobody likes the fruitcake. Everybody hates the fruitcake. Moira dies. She's dead. Summer tries to plead with Death, who does turn up, obviously, to harvest the soul. But Death is not having it. It's too late. So we have an urn in the middle of the pathway leading up to the house, which Summer now carries around in her inventory, because, why not? I'm not putting that inventory out in the house. I'm not having a ghost flying around. Death decided to, stick around for a little bit, and he decided to go in and say hello to Jamie. So baby Jamie has felt the icy hand of death from a very young age. I don't think this bodes very well for Jamie's life, but we will have to wait and see in future updates what happens to Jamie. But this was definitely not a good omen. Summer begins to have a fear of her unfulfilled desires ever since this death, the untimely demise of her neighbor Moira. I must say that Moira's daughter, who was there when she died, didn't seem that affected. She didn't seem that affected, but, maybe they were having some kind of quarrel at the time, who knows. But both Nico and Summer are finding it difficult to balance their careers, and Jamie, as a result, Jamie is a little bit neglected. Her needs aren't completely met, but in the bargain of that, nor is Summer or Nico's. And given that they don't have a lot of money, they can't hire a nanny, and so despite the pressure building, Nico decided to spend money that they do not have on a chicken coop, and he purchases 2 baby chicks, a female and a male. Summer is not happy by this because, it's money that they can't afford, but Summer is just always exhausted. She feels Nico never pulls his weight. He's always kind of lazy, doing his own thing, going along with his whims and wants and fancies, and she kind of has to be the policeman of the relationship. She has to be the sensible one, the one that does all the work. She's the one who works and cleans and such. And Nico just brings home things that they don't need, that just costs them money. She's angry when she discovered that Nico is looking for puppies. So one night she comes home from work. It's late. I think it's like, 1 a.m. she comes home, and she walks into the bedroom from eating some food, and she sees the computer. She sees that he's looking for puppies, adverts for puppies, and she's just so angry because they can't afford a dog and he's looking for puppies. Nico reasoned that now that they live in a more rural setting, open, with Jamie, it would be a good idea to get a guard dog. And Summer doesn't agree. To be frank, they don't really need a dog when they have Ruby the cat. If you remember in our first update, we have Ruby the cat. And Ruby the cat is extremely territorial. She also enjoys spending time in the chicken coop with the chickens. She doesn't try to harm them. She just kind of hangs out with them, and they seem to tolerate her presence. You will see later on as this video goes along that Ruby is in fact the best guard dog that ever existed. She doesn't care. She doesn't give two fucks. She's badass. At her advances, Summer proceeded to fight Santa for the gifts. She was a very angry lady, and very angry. Summer lost her, and now she's on the naughty list for life. Nico feels threatened. Summer makes more money than him, and all Nico wants to do is hug someone. Anyone. He doesn't care. He just wants a hug. Despite Nico's inadequacies, he is a devoted father in his own way. He enjoys introducing his daughter to new culinary delights and enjoys her sunny nature. Jamie is, despite her troubled beginning and her often neglected ways, very much like her mother in that she's bright and sunny, very warm personality, unlike Nico, who is gloomy. But Jamie, like her mother, sees something in her father and overlooks the gloominess. How long she can do this, however, we'll have to see. Summer begins a light flirtation with her co-worker, Raj. Now, with things not really going very well at home, Summer begins to spend a lot more time with Raj. Finally, after so much bad luck, Nico actually has some good luck. He wins the lottery. And while their win isn't huge, it's not life-changing, it's not gonna make generational wealth. It's enough to make them comfortable. I should say that it doesn't take very long for them to blow it all. Nico blows it all. Nico buys a cow and adds to his chicken collection. He now has a cow that he often forgets to feed and to clean, and more chickens to forget to clean and to feed. Oddly, he never forgets to collect the eggs, which he never uses. Nico quits his failing job to become a full-time farmer. He convinces a very, 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 very unhappy Summer that this would be the best for them all. If he works at home, it would be easier for him to look after Jamie. it isn't a very good nanny, and often he forgets to feed her. One day, in spring of their first year in the new home, Summer met a dilemma. Before leaving work, she found the cash register was short. Summer may be a flirt, but she isn't a thief. She decided to do the right thing and report her co-worker, who could only have been the culprit. The co-worker sheepishly apologized for their mistake and promised to be more careful in the future. But Summer decided to keep an eye on them anyway. Jamie, despite her mother's very casual presence in the home, she works the most hours. Jamie is fascinated by Summer and often tries to emulate her. As I said, she is very like her personality and how she looks, everything. She's very much like her. Jamie, in herself, is a independent, headstrong, and defiant toddler. As a result of her turbulent and unsettled start to life, Summer gets a promotion to line cook, which means she now earns 43 simoleons per hour. This is far much more money than Nico has ever earned, and Nico is still jealous. Meanwhile, Nico is finding his feet as a full-time farmer and stay-at-home dad. Summer's relationship with Raj heats up. Raj lives in the city at Culpeper Apartments with his widowed mother, Geeta Rasoyam. Geeta only wants her son to get married to a lovely lady and give her grandchildren, and instead her son is making eyes at the married lady with a child. It's not a great start for Geeta. She's not very happy. Jamie wears hearing aids in both ears. This was a little bit of a surprise. I didn't really notice this until I took a screenshot and to enhance it, and I didn't know that The Sims did hearing aids, but I thought it would be kind of interesting for the character, especially as Jamie seems to be have a lot on her plate. Kind of interesting character building trait. And it's around this time that badass cat Ruby gets sick. Now it's terrible. She turns blue and her nose is glowing red. Of course, Summer, being the responsible one, must take her to the vet, and she is quickly diagnosed with Winterfest fever, and she is cured. To this day, Ruby is alive, happy, well, and running around the house doing zoomies. Shortly after Winterfest, and to cheer himself up from his gloom of Summer's recent promotion and being the one who wears the pants in the relationship, Nico adopts a puppy, a little Staffordshire Bull Terrier whom he calls Cosmo. Now, Cosmo may be a Staffordshire Bull Terrier who are fierce and proud and brave. I know, for I have one. But Cosmo is no match for Ruby. She's a badass. So, despite the fact that he buys a dog, it's not a guard dog, and Cosmo is a more fun-loving, happy kind of dog who likes hunting. Nico joins the Garden Gnome Club alongside Bjorn Bergson and Lucas Munch, who is a child. Pint-sized sim with a love of gardening. It is Nico's ambition, his aspiration, to join a club and be popular. So I decided to grant him some wishes, and so I made him a member of the Garden Gnome Club, because at that point he was heavily into gardening and building, growing, I don't know how long Nico and Summer can stay together, but we'll have to see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, I don't know. One wild, thundery night, Jamie set her school project up in the garden. She was approached by a ordinary-looking man, and he began to strike up a conversation with her. She wasn't worried. Summer was on the doorstep talking to a friend. But Jamie became alarmed when he disappeared into a cloud of smoke. And it was at that moment that Jamie knew something was not right. She had just been speaking to a vampire. I've spoken in the first update about this family and vampires. How vampires seem to be attracted to them for some reason. It doesn't matter that they grow tons of garlic in the garden. Vampires are attracted to this family. Ruby the cat had a visit from the head vampire, but Ruby the cat didn't give a fudge about him being a vampire. She kicked his ass. I'm not joking, she did. She kicked his ass. A cat kicked a vampire's ass. Anyway, the vampires continued to follow the family. That same night, Nico was enjoying a rare moment alone with Summer when he asked about Raj. Always a very bad thing to do. We know the duos had a affair. Nico has found out. I probably should have mentioned that. To be honest, I don't know why I didn't put it in my notes, but I didn't. Nico had a fight with Raj. Nico won, and Raj stuck around in the house to eat the food. I don't know. But they hadn't spoken about Raj since that night. But Nico doesn't like the reply that he gets. Summer declares her love for Raj, and Nico is enraged. He is angry. At this time, he doesn't really let go of the anger. He's angry all the time. All the time. All the time. All the time. He's still angry about it. He won't let it go. He's very angry. He's very insecure. Very jealous. And he doesn't trust Summer. That night, Jamie had a strange and unsettling dream in which a round yellow spectre with glasses proposed marriage. Now, I've wondered what this means. Is this an omen for Jamie for when she becomes an adult? We will have to see, but I'm just wondering who a round yellow spectre with glasses could be. It was the same night that she encountered the vampire, the night that she first grew afraid of the dark. It is something that she has never, ever, ever overcome. Her fear of the dark. And she is a teenager now. She's still afraid of the dark. She's never conquered her fear of the dark. Nico did the only thing he could. He moved the family again. He sold his chickens and forgot any plans he had to become a farmer. Nico wanted something different. He wanted to flee the bad memories. He wanted to ensure his child wasn't afraid. He wanted to make sure his wife stayed away from Raj and any other man in the neighborhoods. Nico purchased a beautiful waterfront home named Reef Finery in the picturesque town that I forget the name of, but it's definitely based on Hawaii. I forgot the name, and it's not in my notes because I forgot the name and then I didn't Google it. Well done to me. Surely here in this sunny island with volcanoes and beaches summer holiday is promoted to head caterer, and she now earns 52 simoleons per hour. Meanwhile, Nico is still stuck in his low-paying fisherman job and feeling pretty sad about it. He's too lazy to try and improve his skills to get promotion. He's basically lazy. His hostility towards Summer begins to grow. His jealousy has heightened. He now hates any man who speaks to Summer. This is actually pretty funny. Any man who is near Summer, he hates. So you click on them and their relationship is instantly red. Like anything, he is so jealous. She doesn't even have to speak to the man, it's just there. As Summer grew older and closer to her teenage years, it became increasingly more expensive to live at the home. Despite Summer's promotion and earning a lot more money, it was time to move house again to a more affordable place. The family returned to Willow Creek and a more modest 2-bedroom home. Nico gives up his fisherman job and takes a changing career. He tries his hand as a freelance writer, hoping he can better provide for his family this way. And I can say that actually he is enjoying this job. He gets to earn more money. He doesn't have to do anything really taxing. He just sits and types on his computer, which is another thing. Nico has put on a little bit of weight. Actually, he's put on a lot of weight. I think we need to do something about that because it's becoming a problem. After a few days in the new home, it is time for Jamie to age up. Summer bakes a birthday cake and Jamie stands over it and blows the candle out. She is now a teenager. And what is kind of funny is she has the exact same prominent nose as her father. So she looks very much like Summer, except she has the very prominent Castellanos nose, which I did kind of on purpose to test to see how far down the line this nose can go. How far can it go? At this time, Summer is faced with her daughter growing older. She's on the threshold of leaving home and going out into the world on her own. It's a complicated feeling. They only have Jamie, and Jamie loves animals. So while her parents are never there for her, Jamie finds solace with Ruby the cat and Cosmo the dog. She has, now that she's old enough to take the dog for a walk, has taken on the responsibility of walking the dog. To be fair, Nico didn't do it very often, and Summer is always in work. So Jamie has become the responsible one. Nico is enjoying his freelance job, but he misses some of his old hobbies. So he begins by planting some spinach in the garden and buying a bee box. Yes, you heard that correctly. A bee box. A bee box. Because that is exactly what we should give the incompetent man who can't do anything. Bees. Nico is going to raise bees and to make his own honey, but it's okay because he can make lots of money. He's told Summer it's okay. Summer isn't really happy. The house is small, it's tiny, even though it's a 2-bedroom house. Their home on the island by the seaside was going to set her up for when she leaves home. We'll still obviously play and find out what happens with Nico and Summer, but Jamie is going to be a little bit of a favorite of mine, I think. I have a lot of fun taking her outside the home, which I didn't really do very much with Jamie and Nico and with Summer and Nico until this point, and having her interact with Sims outside, so in parks or whatever. And now that she's older, Jamie can go into bars and clubs. So Jamie steps bravely into her newfound freedom as a teenager and takes a job as a barista, which means that she will be working every single weekday with only the weekends off. But she is earning her own money. She also enjoys the nightlife, and she has a curfew of 10 p.m, but so far she's always missed it. But nobody seems to notice because Summer's at work and Nico is asleep. This is the end of my update. A lot of stuff has happened. One of my favorite things that happened was when Ruby the cat beat up the vampire. It was quite amusing to watch a little cat get into a scrap and be fearless against a creature of the night, a monster, a vampire. It was quite funny. He was quite scared of a tiny little cat, but it's a good point that I to demonstrate when I say that, Cosmo the dog is really not the greatest guard dog, and Ruby is, she's a cat. Where these characters will go next, I don't really know. We have Jamie, who is a straight A student, by the way. I should have mentioned that. She is a straight A student. She is amazing. She really does better than you would think, considering her early years. Parents didn't really help her very much, and she had to do everything by herself. They didn't teach her how to use the potty or, learn to talk. She had to do that herself, so she's a little bit. But as she got a little bit older, she wanted to be friends with everyone. She wanted to be, she has a rivalry going on right now with a sim who is a young adult. And one day Jamie was at the park. She'd been hanging out with the goth girl, because in my Sims save now, the goths have 2 other children besides Cassandra and Alexander, and the little girl is Jamie's friend, and they met at the park and they became fast, firm friends. But the little girl had to leave and go home, and Jamie got really angry. So she got into this argument, and now she wants to be fierce enemies with this young adult. And I don't really know what to make of this young adult, who is an adult even though they are young, who's in